So, for a long time, since the beginning of humanity, people have been bleeding, right? Too much bleeding is bad. And we started to realize, well, maybe we can like replace blood, right? And that was really difficult to do for a long period of time. And then in the 1800s, we invented hypodermic needles, so we could actually do blood transfusions. And so first we tried, well, we'll just give them animal blood, right? So we would give them animal blood. That didn't work very well at all. That would cause people to get more sick or usually die. And then we said, okay, well, there must be something special about human blood, so we got to give people human blood. So we give people human blood. Sometimes it worked really well, sometimes it worked really not well at all. Then in the 1950s, or 1930s, we figured out what was called the ABO blood typing system. So each red blood cell in your body has got an antigen and an antibody. Okay? So antigen generates an antibody response, okay? So the antigens are A, B, both A and B, and no antigen, okay? So why do we call it O?
Because 0 would not match the letter scheme.
So when they were writing it down, they put the number 0, but people confused it for O, the letter O, and so we just call it O instead, so 0, okay? And then we got the antibodies, so for our antibodies we've got B, A, O, and AB, right? So antigen and an antibody, when they interact with each other, it causes what we call agglutinization, okay? So A can't interact with B, B can't interact with A, right? What can AB do? What happens if you give somebody AB blood?
You have to have A or B.
You have to have,
Or B.
who can, so AB is what's called the universal recipient, right? AB has got no antibody, so if you give somebody with AB blood, A, is A gonna mix with O? There's no antibody. Can you give them B? Can you give them AB? Can you give them O? Right? O is the universal donor, right? So there's no antigen, so it can't generate an antibody response. So we give O to B, it's fine. O to A, fine. O to AB, fine. And if you give it to AB, you're fine, right? So O can only receive blood from another O donor, and AB can receive blood from anybody, but can only donate to A. Right? So what happens if you try to give AB blood to type A? What happens if you try to give it to B? What happens if you try to give it to O? Right? So A can donate to who? A or
AB.
AB. Who can B donate to?
B or B, AB.
Or AB. AB can donate to AB, and O can donate to who? Who can A receive blood from?
A
A
and O.
and O. B can receive blood from
B and O.
B and O. Who can AB receive blood from?
Anybody?
A, B, AB, or O, and O can only receive blood from another O. Right? So if you're type AB and you have something traumatic happen to you and you have to go to the hospital and they got to give you blood, you're in luck. Doesn't matter whose blood it is. And if you're O, right, blood banks really like you. Okay? So there's A, B, AB, and O, and then there's also what is called RH factor. Okay? RH factor, anybody know why it's called RH factor? Scientists who figured out RH factor were working with what are called rhesus monkeys. Not those kind of rhesus, right? Yeah. So they weren't delicious monkeys made out of peanut butter and a thin candy shell. Right? So they were RH for rhesus monkey, right? So you either have the RH factor or you don't have the RH factor. So this leads to A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, and and O negative, so those are the different blood types that you have. Okay, does anybody here actually already know their blood type?
Pretty confident.
So now, if you guys want to do this, again, this is entirely optional, you do not have to do it. So over here, we've got anti-serum, okay? So gather around. I'm not gonna stab myself because I like stabbing other people. Do it. I'll kind of show you what you guys want to do.